Sure. All right. So why don't we get going?
Motion to adjourn.
All right. This is the May 2015 regular meeting of the Woodbridge Conservation Commission. We will start our agenda with public comments. We have nobody here from the public to speak tonight, so we'll move along. Next on the agenda, to review and approve minutes from the April 30th special meeting.
I make a motion we accept them as presented. I didn't see any change in it.
All right. Is there a second?
I was here, right? Yeah.
Yes, you were.
All right. Very good. Is there any discussion about the minutes? All right. All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain if there wasn't here.
Abstain.
2 abstains. Okay. All right. Next on the agenda, our upcoming June 6th trail walk. So you have the little brochure. So we are now listed in the trail book. This is from the Connecticut Forest and Park Association. We're listed in here under orange because it is starting in orange, but we are jointly running this walk with the Orange Conservation Commission. Also put in a little side plug for the walk at the Massaro Farm on Sunday as well.
Massaro Farm is the next day, I think, right?
Yep. So our walk is Saturday, June 6th. It starts at 10 and runs till 1. There will be a guided walk at 10:30.
How long is this walk? It's a mile and a half.
It's about 2 miles round
You
trip,
can make
out
it.
and back.
My wife said I have to go, so.
Oh, right.
Some incentive.
Oh, yeah.
Some
sure.
incentive to get out there.
You need to exercise.
I'm going to bring my ATV and drive.
It's a fairly easy.
I know,
walk.
I know.
Wide trails. There's not a whole lot of uneven surfaces to go on. So, and it's a great walk.
How did we do on transportation?
I have not heard anything about getting a bus on the Woodbridge end of the trail.
Because my
I know
feeling
you've
on that, we went the opposite way the last trail walk.
Yep.
And it seemed like a lot of the people were very happy to take the bus back up to the Woodbridge part.
Okay.
Not that many people walk back.
So, of course, there was a couple of people there, like Tom,
Jog back.
who walked both ways.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Show off.
I'm just wondering if we're going to
Only
do something
exercise
on
I can.
transportation.
Well, what's the feeling of the group here? Should we hire a bus?
Yeah, B&B, call B&B. And,
I mean, they did it last year. They
Yeah.
were reasonable for the day, and we certainly have it in our budget to provide that type of a transportation.
and take a vote.
Uh,
Motion to hire a bus to participate in the trail walk.
And the bus would be in the Woodbridge to bring back the hikers back to Orange.
Right.
That's the way
Yeah.
just the opposite way we did it
okay.
a year ago.
Where do we meet in Orange?
At the main trailhead, right off Racebrook Road. There's that big parking area.
Right before 34.
Yep. Go down. So from here, go to 34.
You know where it is?
Yeah. Not really. Wait a minute.
Everybody else, silence your phones, please.
I'm just wondering, maybe we ought to look at leaving maybe a little different. Maybe we have the bus hit Woodbridge first. So if people like to park up there,
Oh, I see what he says. Yeah, we park in the
and
lot,
then come back down to.
Okay.
and it takes us to Orange, and then we can go.
Yeah,
from
then
there.
they have their cars up there.
They have
You know
the
what I'm
cars up
saying?
there.
Rather, I don't know how. There's really not that many parking spaces down in Racebrook.
You could probably fit, I want to say, 15 cars down there.
You can
Maybe
get quite a
20.
few in there.
It's a fairly good sized lot. It goes back pretty far.
I've been there. Like 4 times already.
I think what Tom's saying makes sense. I'm sorry, what you're saying makes sense because it's more likely that people will congregate before 10 to come down together, whereas on the way back, you don't know when people are going to finish to load the bus, and I don't know how.
Well, I think
If
the
you
bus
rent the bus
should be
hourly.
there. What time does the walk start? 10?
So the guided walk starts at 10:30. So the official trail walk starts at 10, and that'll be You know,
Okay.
we'll have a table set up. We'll have maps and information, some light refreshments at the table.
My suggestion would be what Rich said, but what I would do is keep the bus so it would be running back and forth. In other words, if it picked up, I mean, not saying the people that Woodbridge people may want to walk back to Orange, and then they're going to need a ride back up here to get their car.
But I don't know if you want them back and forth.
Why not?
How did you do it last year?
We had the bus waiting at the parking lot on the Orange side.
And the bus was pretty filled.
Was that at the end of the trail also?
Everybody that.
So we went from Woodbridge down through the trail, ending in Orange.
And
then
this,
he drove us
People got
back.
on the
Rob, and this walk is a little different than the other walk. The walk from Woodbridge to Orange is all downhill. The walk from Orange to Woodbridge is all uphill. Am I?
Yep.
And that happened- that day was a hot day.
Everything's downhill from Orange, Woodbridge.
So people may want a ride after then.
That's what I'm saying. So, but what Rich is saying also makes sense.
Yep, where people would park in the Woodbridge end, catch the bus down to the
Orange,
start.
and then they could walk
then
up
take
and
the
they
guided
get in
tour.
their car and they could leave.
Right, but
Those
then-
that don't leave, the bus is there to take them back to their car. So you can either park in Woodbridge or you can park in Orange.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. I think we're all agreed.
Yeah, the
I
bus
think,
will
I
be
think
running
the,
back
How do we
and
find out what
forth.
it costs? Do we have money in the budget for it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
At
There's
B&B
no
is
worries
very
about that.
reasonable. I know
Well,
that.
it cost us $800, didn't it?
No.
800.
I forget.
No, I think it was between 100 and 150.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
that's nice.
Because he
I
does
think
the
that's
school
reasonable.
run and he likes to donate. So he's donating it at that price. I can tell you that now. So.
So you hire him for 4 hours? The whole.
That's
so you
what
go
I'm
like
saying,
Half hour
yeah.
before until a half
Yeah.
hour after. Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
How about having the medic stand by? No, I'm serious. You know, someone can trip.
Tom
get
took care of
hurt.
that
I
last time,
think
right,
they could
Tom?
call
Well, I
somebody.
was there. But
You were there, right?
Well,
We'll find some
We have
scouts that
Tom.
are
Tom's
wanting
gonna be
to
there.
earn a first aid badge or something. Yeah.
I mean, we pay for the EMT to be here sitting. He could sit by the near the trail. Same thing. That's what I'm just saying. Show a little.
It's not bad. I mean,
It's not a bad idea. I don't know if it's necessary. But let's get back to the bus for the moment, because there's a motion on the table for the bus. Is there a second to?
Second.
Second.
Oh, I made the motion.
Yeah,
right?
you
Second.
can second.
Can't second.
Robin
my
will
motion.
second.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
All
I thought
right.
Rich
So,
would do it, but-
so I think for the bus, we can figure out the exact details of when he is where.
Yeah.
Outside of this meeting, I don't think we need to have
Okay.
6 brains figuring that one out.
Yeah. Right.
So
Well.
I'll call the question. All in favor of hiring a bus for the trail walk?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah. All right. Very good. So we'll get a bus. I'll contact Chris and see what he can do. We're also going to provide some refreshments, so we'll pick up some water and trail bars and fruit like we did last year. So we'll have that available.
And water too, right?
Yep.
You
Yep.
can get water.
I prefer Poland Springs.
Now, also in preparation for the walk, last year we were way behind on getting signage out. So this year, want to make sure we're ahead of things. So we're coming up on the 2 weeks out from that walk. So I would like to see if we can get sandwich boards around town on the roads next week. Does that sound?
Do you have signs?
Yeah.
We'll make them up.
Okay.
We have money in our budget.
How
for
about
printing.
what's the name? Beecher School in the high school. Did we do anything on that?
I know Tim, who's not here tonight, he was reaching out through the Beecher PTO to get the word out to the schools.
Okay.
How about Channel 12?
But what?
They're always posting stuff. Channel 12.
Good idea.
oh, Channel 12.
Channel 12. Does anybody have any contacts with Channel 12? I have none.
I can forward the press release to them.
Okay. All right. And Betsy, you'll be able to update the website and throw something in the email?
Yep.
Town email as well?
And it's in the newspaper that's out front here and
Excellent.
should be in the Connecticut Bulletin also.
Perfect. Great.
It's the Milford Bulletin. Milford,
Yeah.
Woodbridge, Orange,
You're right.
whatever.
The
Yeah.
email address is Connecticut,
Yeah.
but paper is called Milford.
Yeah.
Very good. We had reached out to Scouts. I know. I know, Rich and Frank, you were reaching out to Scouts about this. Was there any?
I didn't get any response from, I don't know if you did Troop 9.
I did, and
I-
they were supposed to jump in on our meeting last week, and apparently they never made it. Last month, rather.
Okay.
So
I did talk to Charlie Whiting. He was going to go to the meeting and he was supposed to get back, but I'll double check with him.
Charlie Whiting did show up at our regular April meeting, but we didn't have a quorum to hold the meeting. And Charlie was wondering why he was here because someone put an agenda in his mouth. Was that you?
Yeah.
Mystery solved.
Oh my god. Poor guy.
I did. I went up. You know, I went up his house.
He
But
thought
I
he
did
was supposed
call
to be
him
in
after.
the meeting, so he
Yeah.
came to the meeting.
Yeah.
I did call him after that, and I did talk to him. And he said he was going to go see Troop 63.
I'll check with Troop 7 again. The last I heard was that they have an order of the Arrow event there, and they don't know how many boys they could
Okay.
spare, if any. So
All right.
I'll check again.
Last year we had the other commission with us.
QPOP.
Yeah, did we talk to them?
We haven't. Not on this one.
I think we should probably do something with them too,
Yeah, I can reach out to them.
We could invite them.
because quite a few of their people came.
Yeah, I spoke to Milford Photo, and I'll speak to him again because they're running something that they at the seminar in Milford, the store. But I thought maybe they'd get somebody to come down and take a walk with anybody with cameras or anything.
It's also the same weekend that New Haven Bird Club is doing their bird
Right.
count. So there are going to be a lot of other people on the trail. And I talked to some people who live in town who are involved with that, and they said that they would be, I guess it's as many as you can get in the weekend, so they're going to be racing up and down trails. So they don't have time to lead, so I wanted to get an ornithologist or bird watcher. So they're not going to be able to do that. They said that they may see us out there, but they'll be moving too quickly to be pointing out things to novices. So,
All right.
so unfortunately, we won't have anybody to lead, like a naturalist or
All right.
birder.
So I think I'll contact the Orange Conservation Commission and find out if they had anybody that was anticipating guiding this hike.
I thought they had somebody that they paid from Yale or somewhere. That,
Well, that's the question they reflected right back to us, saying, "Didn't you guys hire somebody from Yale 4 years ago or something for this
No.
walk?" And that was before I was here, and I don't know. But nevertheless, it would be nice to have. I mean, I've been up and down that trail frequently. I wouldn't consider myself a guide for the trail.
But you
I'm going to
certainly could lead
have
us.
what do you call it there, Public Works take a look at it too. Last year we had them cut the grass and open the gate.
right in the Woodbridge end.
On the Woodbridge side. Yeah, if you could follow up with that, Rich.
I'll
that would
take
be
care of
great.
that, okay?
And I'll work with the Orange
So maybe you want to
Conservation
talk to
Commission see
Channel
about a
12?
guide.
That's what we already took care of. Right?
Yeah.
Any other details about the trail walk coming up in 2 weeks? Right around the corner now. All right. Well, why don't we move on to the next item on the agenda?
Have you been on there lately?
I have not been on there. I haven't been on there recently. I'll have to get down there.
There was a little erosion there.
From the
in that
winter?
One part up there. I just wonder how bad it was.
All right.
By then, I'll see if I can take a walk down there and make sure there are no trees too.
All right.
Last time we had a tree down there
Yep.
cut.
Yep. Well, we got good weather this weekend. It'll be a good day to get up for a hike.
May I make a quick point? I just went back to my notes because I remember some others. Last year, you did it with 2 other commissions, including Recreation, and they also had representatives there.
Rec.
So you may want to invite them.
Thank you.
Yeah, recreation should be notified too.
Very good. Thank you, John.
Are you going to take count, make sure?
I can't walk it. I can hobble it.
He,
I'll be the table man? Sure. Absolutely.
Tony took count to
Collect the
make
money.
sure that who came and they got off the trail so we didn't lose anybody. You don't have to walk. You could stay there with your little pad.
All right.
Should be giving out GPS.
Next, next on the agenda is the big guy, our grant. So the Recreational Trails Program grant. Our last meeting, we recommended that the Board of Selectmen approve application for this grant with the intent of connecting trails over in the West Rock area. So connecting the Bishop's Trail behind the Darling House down to the Naugatuck Derby Trail, which is off of Park Lane. It's on Tuesday this week. Myself, Frank, and Tom were at the Board of Selectmen meeting. Gave our presentation, and it was unanimously approved to move forward with the application. So that means we got some work in front of us. There were some good points of feedback. Tony mentioned that we should probably, instead of putting a cap of $225,000 on the grant, which is what we had discussed and agreed upon, is that look at what's available in our open space fund, which is about $80,000, and use that as a cap of expenditures. Now, there's a couple ways of looking at this, which can get a little confusing. Our original proposal, we anticipated that the state would pay 80% of our $225,000, and then that would leave us paying about $40,000 out of the open space fund. But let's consider the situation where the state doesn't provide the full 80% reimbursement. Maybe they only provide 50%, which puts us on the hook for $110,000. So it could fluctuate, and maybe at that point, if we're going to be on the hook for $100,000, that's going to exceed that 80 that's in our open space fund. And then maybe we scale back the actual grant, or the worst situation would be we get the grant, we don't have the money, and we have to decline the grant.
But I think that one of the areas, and I mentioned to you the last time when we were talking about purchasing a property, is looking at if in fact we can get the property owner, and it appears that this property has no real value. If somewhere along the line we get it at a reduced rate, and he gets some kind of a write-off on the property by part of a donation. In other words, we pay him so much, and he donates so much.
Yep.
He gets a write-off because he's going to have to pay taxes on the thing.
The owner,
You know what I'm
see if
saying?
we go along with that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's a creative way to try and make money go
And
further.
I think we got to try to utilize that when we do anything on property.
So I just wanted to make the group aware of that comment. I think it was a valid comment to make. And certainly we'll see where things end up. But in the meantime, we can move forward with this.
And maybe one of the incentives is to put a sign up there, mentioning that, in fact, this was a partial donation by the individual, that you
can
recognize them.
We can recognize them, or we can declare that portion of the trail going over that property.
Still
in
an
his name.
allusion to part
Yeah.
of the trail or something.
Give them some recognition, and
Right.
we might go farther on
Yeah.
some of the stuff that we've looked
Well,
at.
I think you get recognition by financial, and you give them recognition through
Yeah.
some kind of a publication or something on the trail that shows that he was.
Actually,
a
name
part
your
of it.
section of that trail
Trails,
or something.
something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
And even when we're looking at easements, maybe that's another area that we would like to do. Like we're talking about an easement here, Frank.
Yeah.
Maybe that portion of the thing has a sign that this was an easement given by so and so on so and so. So people walk the trail. Oh yeah, that person gets recognized.
So
Yeah.
there's certainly a number of challenges around making this grant work. Primarily the fact that we are looking to acquire a parcel that we haven't approached the owner about yet, so we don't know what his thought is on costs. Obviously, we would need to get an appraisal done, I think 2 technically. Easements on properties around Knoll's Pond, because Knoll's Pond is oddly broken up. There's some segments of town property that actually extend into the pond. I'm not quite sure how that happened.
The town owns a parcel
Yeah.
there. And
There's state property involved, which shouldn't be an issue for in terms of easements. But in the area of West Rock Materials, they are doing sort of the gravel pit operation. They have landscaping, gravel, mulch, and whatnot, and they have a bunch of heavy machinery in that area. We need to speak with the owner and discuss our concept with him, see where he lies with this idea. Certainly want to make sure that anything that happens across that property, the people that go through are safe. And the other challenging spot is crossing, not Litchfield Turnpike, there's already a push button.
Amity Road.
Amity Road, thank
Amity
you.
Road, coming out from Bradley.
Yeah, coming out by 245 Amity and crossing over to Wells Fargo. That section,
It's a dangerous section.
it's essentially a 3-lane road at that point.
We may need a light or something.
Yeah, so that's the other challenge. So
That's not going to happen. You're not going to get a light there, but you might be able to just have them walk down, across, and over.
yeah, the alternative solution, if there's not something that is safe and achievable, would be to direct people from Wells Fargo down to the
Down left.
intersection by
So-
Midas and
yeah.
People's Bank there, and
Down
then
to where
Lucy
Lucy
Street.
Street.
Lucy Street.
And then they could cross, and then they could go back up, or they could go all the way down Lucy Street and up.
Or we can see if we can get a blinking light put there.
Take forever. Across the state road, it's not going to happen.
So those are some of the challenges that we're going to have to face. And Ellen had indicated that she would like town representation, paid employees involved in this process, which is understandable. Especially when it comes time to approaching some of the owners of properties. So I'll be speaking with Ellen to get her take on things and trying to make some contacts. But in the meantime, it would be great to be able to take this project and divide up some of the responsibilities and not just have it all on me or all on Frank. Spread this around a little bit, because our deadline is July 1st to have a grant put together. And we'll definitely have some assistance from the town, Tony Genovese for numbers. He's got prior grants that we can probably copy and paste content from. I have contacted Mike Walter to get some more information. I know he was involved with going after the parcel that we're looking at purchasing, the 28 acres. So he's got some history there that I'd love to learn more about.
What do they suggest? We wait until the grant is approved before speaking with the landowner, or?
I don't think so. I think we need to talk to the,
You gotta talk
the
to them
owners.
ahead of time.
No, that's
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 the first
next.
step.
Yeah, I would like to see us.
Then you get an idea of what that if he's really interested in it, you can go get a grant, and
Right.
you get the grant, and the guy says, the fellow says, I'm not interested in selling.
Yeah.
You really need to have
I would-
everything in place before you go get the grant,
I would like to see us starting to engage all the different people on a more serious level starting next week, because we're almost into June at this point.
Yeah, we have to talk to some of these landowners. I have already spoke to some people along the Knoll's Pond, that segment, and the auto body place is fine. With it, Tommy Luciani's okay with it, and Warren's okay with it up to where his heavy equipment is. Yeah,
Right.
where they're actually doing that work there. Now, the other alternative, I believe, we can still get this grant if we do segments of the
trails.
and then fill in the missing links as they become available. And there's certain sections that I think would lend themselves to that.
The only alternative I can think of is if you can't get around the Knoll's Pond part, is to go further up toward West Rock
And come down
There
the
is
other-
some
and come down
space.
the other side.
You'd have to come down off of like South Bradley and behind everything.
Right.
It's a little bit more difficult of a walk. I mean, we had talked the other night about possibly skirting around the edge of the pond, but that's not going to be. That won't make any sense in the spring. We'll never be able to get around it during the spring because that's always high.
It might be higher in the spring, yeah.
So you basically would lose the trail, and then you'd have people trying to, and then they'd be wandering onto the property, which we don't want that. Plus, we'd have to pay for fencing all the way around the property. So, and maybe over the next weekend or so, maybe this weekend I'll try and get out there and walk. I mean, I have walked from where the old JCC is, or Norco's, or whatever you remember it as, that whole strip along West Rock, down behind the Darling House. So it's walkable.
It is.
It's definitely
Oh, of course,
walkable.
of course.
And that may be the alternative to connecting the two. So you come down Bradley Road, or maybe you come across down, it'd probably have to be Lucy Street. Or no, you could do Bradley Road, Bradley Road, South Bradley, out toward.
And
You-
take
well, you
sidewalk,
could be a longer
sidewalk,
walk.
You know what?
Lucy Street.
You're right. You come out Bradley Road there,
Right.
cross
South
over
Bradley.
with the light,
Right.
continue down that road there. To
Take
the
a
next-
right by the ball fields, and then when you get over to the Connecticut Sports, whatever they're calling it now,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is already
Then you
trails
cut
going
left.
up.
Right, that's
behind the building.
Right, that's right.
but again, I'm not sure who owns that property.
Yeah,
If
no,
that's
no,
state or
no,
town
no,
property.
I think that's state property. In back of, I don't know how far back you're going.
Yeah, I don't know if it connects if it's all state property, but that would get us around those two, the businesses and the
Right.
Yes.
the pound, the animal shelter, all
Shelter,
that.
right.
Yeah, I mean, if it's
A lot of
safe,
fencing.
I think we really have to look at that section because I'm thinking that there may have to be some. I think West River Field there is going to be involved somehow.
Yeah, but if you're on
You're
the.
walking up the road by the ball field.
No, no, walking up the road by the ball field. Yeah,
Right, we're not
You're
we're not on the
the
other
ball
side of
field.
the ball field,
Right.
next to the houses. We're walking along the
right.
road.
Yeah, that's exactly
You're
right.
staying,
Yeah,
on,
that's-
you're staying on
and
this side.
It's a
not-
Right.
difficult walk, but I mean,
No,
if you've
no,
ever
outside.
been up on the Regicide Trail, that's not an easy walk either. At the top, that runs along the ridge, that's a very difficult walk too. So I don't think down at the bottom would be any tougher than it would be across.
If we can get, and I've been trying to determine exactly where the state property is from the West Rock, and I have to call in and I never got a response. I mean, where it ends exactly back of those buildings,
Right.
so we
yeah,
could,
that's a difficult one for me to visualize too. Because a couple of weeks ago, I was up on West Rock. I was standing on that overlook above the quarry area and looking down.
Looks like it goes straight down.
It looks like it goes straight down. And it
Yeah,
looks like
pretty
he's got his
pretty
operation
steep.
right up against West Rock. So I'm not sure where the trail might pass legally through there.
yeah, the other thought is if we could get the grant, it's going to cost so much for the property, and if we could just get clearance for that section along the Canol's Pond, most of the folks there are okay with it. I think there's only one or two property owners there. I mean, if we could do that section, that might eat up all the money in the grant anyhow, and then we'd have to get another grant to continue it.
What's
I don't know if we could just do the
but do
whole
we have
thing
an
at once.
overall plan that what we're really looking to do?
Yeah.
Is it a plan to go all around the outskirts of Woodbridge with a trail?
It is. It's,
Yeah.
Is that the,
Yes,
that's
to
the
connect-
main goal?
Yes,
That's
to
the
connect-
master- that's the
various
master
trails.
plan.
It's to connect
That's
to
the master
to
plan.
connect to the trails behind
I have
the Darling House, and then those trails go all the way into Bethany. They go up into New Haven and to Hampton.
Right, and the other factors that we need to consider are providing a trail connection down in that area provides easier access for people in the urban area. There's access to public transportation there to get people on and off the trails, and also let me just finish my thought here. The West
You
River,
come down here.
the West River Watershed Coalition.
We can't cross here, but that's
Hey guys, hey guys.
Hello?
Frank,
Sandy.
hold on a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So the other point was that the West River Watershed Coalition got their greenway approved, and that runs from New Haven all the way up into Bethany, and that includes this section that we're talking about right now. So there's all kinds of facets to
But
it.
I'm looking at, let's say you come out, maybe we can end up with a trail too along the other end of the Woodbridge Country Club, where that, what do you call it is. And if you follow that trail may go back to the trail that's in Woodbridge that goes back to Orange.
Oh, I see. So you're trying to connect the Racebrook Tract to
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
In other words, if that's
an
the goal
alternative.
is to go all around. That isn't too bad because that's all where they were talking about moving the tower. That's all Woodbridge property.
Yeah.
Maybe a trail through there that comes back down to along woodland.
Yep. I mean that's definitely a good future use of additional trails in the town.
Because
Yeah.
we've got a nice trail on Racebrook, and if you can move that trail right around, and you can keep going.
Right.
So what were you guys discussing over there?
He was saying you got to go down to Lucy Street when I said there's a light at Bradley.
Yep. There's a crossing at Bradley.
Bradley.
Bradley to
Thank-
South Bradley. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, no, or right up, right.
No,
where Bradley
right
crosses
up
Litchfield.
to
Right.
There's that
right
light.
up to 63. Now there's no light there,
Correct.
Right.
so you'd have to walk down
Lucy Street.
to Lucy Street and pick it up there.
Yep.
Because I think that's better than walking
Yeah, you
down
cross,
69
you cross at
to
Lucy,
get to Lucy.
and then walk back up.
Yep.
Yeah,
There's
And then hit
sidewalks
the
on
trail.
Amity Road, right?
right. Well, yeah, that's right. On Amity Road there are some
There's
sidewalks.
sidewalks, yeah.
Right. So this is, I think, a safer way to do it than the other way.
I'm out Bradley.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's a more achievable, immediate goal
Yeah.
is to have that workaround. I mean, years down the road, maybe there's a need for a traffic light at that intersection, and then
There
trail
may be something you
technically-
want to put on the paint on the sidewalk.
right, we can do
You know what I
a
mean?
red
That
stripe on
shows
the
the
sidewalk
trail,
or
just
something.
whether it's a little marker or something. Yeah, this is the
Yeah,
way.
you can do it like they do with the bicycle thing.
Right.
We get a design that is agreeable and put it on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
like a stencil or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So I wanted to get a feel in this group so let's say that the purchase of the property that we were looking at is beyond our means, but an easement would be possible. My concern with just going for an easement on that property is that there's hunting that happens on that property. And
There's
that,
also hunting that's on behind the Darling House as well, and there are tree blinds that are up pretty close to the trail, so there's hunting all through there. So it's not just that piece
Well,
of
I mean,
property.
right, but because the Darling House is all town-owned property, the town should be taking down any deer blinds that are up in the trees. But if we're crossing private property with just a 20-foot easement going through, and the deer blinds are off several hundred feet from the trail.
They're not several hundred feet.
All right, some of them are much
Some of them
closer.
are pretty close.
Yeah.
Because there were complaints made to the Board of Selectmen a number of years ago and to the Ordinance Committee to look at that. And we had a packed house that night when there was discussion that we may change the ordinance and do anything with those blinds, with the hunting. So, but I understand your concern that if we're crossing over that
Right,
piece of property, how do you limit?
right.
Well, isn't there a ordinance with the police department you cannot discharge a
Within, I think, a certain distance from
Right.
the house or
Yeah.
public,
Right.
public land.
But aside from firearms, there's also bow hunting as well.
can't discharge a bow of it?
But my thought was that if we owned the parcel, then we could take down deer blinds without any concern. But if it's privately owned and we just have an easement through there,
yeah.
I personally still have some concern about the safety. And maybe we can get a very, very wide easement, but still, I have some reservations.
I understand that.
I think the first thing to do is contact the landowner and see if we could get the whole parcel.
Yeah, because I think that's the biggest cost
I think that-
facing us.
Or even a piece of it.
Right, or even just the back half of it.
We'll
No,
just cross
no,
over
because
it.
if you do that, then you could have the hunting on the other parcel, which would make it
Do you
dangerous.
really need hunting down there?
It can't be buildable, can it?
It's not. I don't think.
I mean,
Whatever
he's got
runs right through it.
road frontage access.
I could see him shooting.
Right, but I mean,
ducks,
from
but I don't think
the
they're going to
piece we'd be concerned about, which would be on the other side of Canol's Pond.
Right, if we took from the wetlands back to West Rock,
That, I can't imagine that any of that would be
Just post
buildable.
I don't think you can access it without tearing up wetlands. So,
But you
Exactly.
can't, if we don't own it, you
Yeah.
can't post it.
Get the landlord to post.
So we should approach that landowner with a possibility of subdividing it.
right, so I think first priority is to contact that landowner.
You
It's
can't
not-
hunt on somebody's land unless you ask them.
That's true.
I mean, you just can't walk in somebody starts hunting.
That's true.
What? Well, he can invite.
Well, if he wants
Yeah,
to
it's
invite
not-
somebody,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
but
not
I'm
a
saying,
sign.
let's put it this way. You can't walk on the land and
That's
take
have a
it.
permit.
You gotta
signed
get, you not only permit, but you gotta get permission from the landowner.
from the landowner. That's what I'm saying. That's the permit. You have to have
He
it.
may be paying the landowner.
And I don't know if the landlord's gonna give him permission,
I thought also Ellen wanted someone from the Board of Selectmen
because you
to
give
approach
permission
them.
and I shoot you.
Yeah, so
And the
someone from the
homeowner,
town.
not-
Not necessarily Board of Selectmen, someone
Right.
from town.
Right.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to do
Well, in
is
addition to right?
prioritize our tasks here so that we can get moving on them next week. Then priority one, get a hold of the landowner of this parcel.
Was the Board of Selectmen okay with our commission approaching landowner, or they wanted
There
to
was
do
someone
that?
from the town
Someone from the town should
To
to be
I thought.
involved.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Town
somebody or-
representative, I think.
That's what I
the
thought.
thinking was somebody like Tony.
Right.
Yep. And you know,
maybe Jerry.
I was gonna say
how
Jerry,
the
maybe.
process goes.
yep.
But a town worker is.
Yeah, a paid town employee would be
Right.
involved
So
all
we'll speak
along.
with them.
Yeah.
Not any of us.
Right.
Right. I mean, we could be
No, we would
involved
be-
in.
That clear.
We could be involved in the
We would not be
advisory part of that.
negotiating anything for the town.
Right.
Right.
So that's why the contact may be made by us, but if any discussion about purchasing the property or easements, they would be negotiated by Tony or someone in town who's been authorized to
Right.
do that, so it's not us.
Right. Or we could be authorized to negotiate, but we'll deal with that if it comes.
This is marked, right?
This.
I can approach
That's right.
This isn't marked.
right.
This is a new trail that
want
we're
to
looking
see
to
any
put in.
about
That's what we want to do.
how
That's-
far
that's
back
what
his
we wanna
property
do.
goes up against, because
Well-
I've known him for a long time.
Yeah. All right. Good.
Support,
So-
am I right?
You gotta ask them
Support.
stuff,
Yeah.
to sign
Hey guys.
her.
So we got our first priority. Our next priority, I think, is trying to figure out easements around the parcels, whether we're going to try and make the trail go against West Rock or have the trail go along Knoll's Pond. That seems like the next big challenge for us to cross. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I'll approach Warren Luciani and whoever else are in those buildings. I thought Layden had somebody up there too.
Well, Frank, you had already had some initial conversations down there. I would like to have the town involved with this discussion the same way they're going to be involved with the purchase.
I did. I did have some conversations with Tommy Luciani, and he's not opposed to having the trail on his property, and that's over by the spillway there. That's his section of it. And then the town owns a section, I believe, right? I have a map of it.
Is it
The town
across from
owns
the
a
tennis
section.
center?
Town owns a little section there, and then I believe Warren owns the next section before his business, and then the other one is the body shop on the corner. And those people are all not opposed. I mean, they're in favor of it. So we have a lot of it, a lot of that section along Bradley Road, which is what we're talking about here, right along Bradley Road, which is it's probably the nicest section for a trail. I mean, you're overlooking, the Canol's Pond there. So there's one owner, number 87, and I have the, I don't know where it is, but I have some more information about that there. No, it's not in there. Here it is. Okay, they're marked off. We haven't contacted that owner yet, and that would be Bradley Road, right there. Burleson, Jerome. There's one residence there. It's a home, and that person hasn't been. I haven't spoken to that person, but the people I've spoken to, other than that person, and there's a business just before Warren's business. Those are the two people that we have to speak to.
All right. So are you two willing to help out with contacting
And Tony or someone from the town should be involved with that.
Right,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't
We
think
have to get
should
the
be
town
going-
to actually talk to the people also,
Right.
right?
And I think it would be very good for members from this group to at least assist with it and help clarify questions
I
as
think
they
we can
come
make
up.
the initial contacts and then have the town talk to the people.
No, I think the
Or
town.
Other way
initial
around.
initial
It's the
contacts
other way
the other way
around.
around.
Yeah,
that's what I was
Do it
trying
the other
to
way around.
get
I
at.
think Jerry or Tony should be, or both of them, so that they know exactly what
Yeah.
is going on.
Yeah, what I'll do tomorrow, I'll contact.
Why don't you have, when we were looking at the properties like a couple of years ago,
You mean the properties that we surveyed?
all the ones we went there, we had Sullivan. She laid out all the properties and who owned it and the boundaries and everything.
Yeah, and that's what Frank has right there.
Yeah, that's it.
They were a little better than that.
Yeah, but it's here. It's just that you have to.
We had it all.
It's all
We had it
over on
all.
Bradley Road there.
Right. So
We had-
that's okay. We won't have to look at it this second.
Right. We had it all laid out.
Yeah, maybe we want to ask her to get involved a little bit and lay out some of these, because she's got all the partial maps.
Right. And it would be also good to see wetland maps and
On a
other.
bigger scale, maybe.
And she gave us soil maps. I mean, we had a lot of.
So we'll go through all of that. The reason that we haven't done any of that up until now is because spending all that energy and having a no from the Board of Selectmen, we would have had to shelve everything and we would have spent somewhat wasted energy. So tomorrow I'll contact the town, let them know that we do want to make contact with the various landowners and soon to move this forward, and that Frank and Tom, you guys have some personal relationships with people in the area that might make a little easier discussion as it comes up. We've already talked a bit about the crossing of Amity Road. It sounds like we're okay
We can find a way around it.
going around it for the time being. It sounds like it's a bigger challenge than what we're willing to bite off at this point for the grant.
Well, we really don't have to bite it off at this time because of the fact that you cross over 69 on Bradley, you've got sidewalk, you're still in nice, land there that's wide open, and just continue right along the wall, and then you hit the sidewalk and you take a left.
Yep. So we've got a workaround in place. I mean,
Yeah.
ideally you could go straight across, but that would be too much for this particular project.
Right, exactly.
Okay. The other two items that I had here just as placeholders in terms of costs were blazing the trail, equipment, or actually paid labor to go through. Some of the unblazed trail is surely heavy undergrowth. And if my past experience is indicative of what's there, it's going to be poison ivy and briars.
And there's some pretty large trees there. If
We can go around the trees.
enlarge
It's
that
the
trail.
underbrush that's going to
Yeah,
get
it's
you.
all that brush. So there's
Didn't the trail master get something, a new trailblazer thing or something?
I don't know if he's got his equipment yet. He's
Oh.
definitely put in some requests.
Oh, that's what I meant, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also any other safety items. There is a section on Bradley Road, so if you were to cross out of the industrial area, cross Litchfield Turnpike and go down Bradley Road, there's no sidewalks at that end of Bradley Road. There's a sidewalk once you hit 245 Amity, He extended his sidewalk all the way down to the edge of his property. But there's going to be a stretch that people will be walking on the road. Is there any...
They shouldn't have to walk on the road.
There's stretches
There's
with no
sidewalks halfway down Bradley.
There's-
It's
right.
about halfway.
Right, but
Halfway.
then the other half,
The other
Yeah,
half
but-
has no sidewalk. So
Doesn't the state, or is there something that says that the town owns a certain portion?
10 feet in.
10 feet in. So they can walk on that 10 feet.
right, I'm just looking at it from a safety perspective. Do we?
Well, you
Do
may
we-
have to
do we
use
want
the same
to-
thing
They're
they
in
do
certain-
with bicycle. In other words, put a marker alongside.
Right, but yeah, so something like that.
So do we want to engage
Well,
the town
eventually,
to put?
we would have some sort of sidewalk. I would think, as part of the trail, or those sidewalks could be extended on Bradley Road to come all the way back down to Litchfield Turnpike, I would think.
Let's see what.
But
our-
wait a minute.
Let's see what our
If we
select
cross
person has to
over,
say.
if we cross over on Bradway,
Yeah.
isn't there a sidewalk on the left? As you're
Yeah,
driving
but-
out, there's a sidewalk.
But-
They could
but-
walk that sidewalk down to Lucy. And I think,
The sidewalk doesn't go from Bradley all the way to Lucy.
I thought it did now, the new one.
Did you have a?
The intention of the future will be that there will be a sidewalk all the way up.
Down, all the way down Bradley,
Right.
all the way down to the New Haven line, and the same thing on the Amity Road side. So, and as you know, some of the sidewalks were just done from Lucy moving up towards Mettler and then that work, most of it was under grant money, and there's a continued plan to hopefully, so that they will all be connected.
So we will
I
have
can't give you a
sidewalks.
timetable, I don't think anybody can yet, but that is the plan, and so that part of Bradley should hopefully be done. That's a large section next to 245 Amity Road, which is privately owned, which is the possible site of the future development there. And of course, once they would develop, they would also put their end of the sidewalk in. But there is intention by the town, and with cooperation from the state, to make the sidewalk go from the New Haven line all the way up to Bradley, across Bradley, and all the way back down to New Haven on Amity Road. So it is in the works, including hopefully maybe someday some sidewalks over by Selden. So there are more sidewalks to be done down there. I don't know of the timetable. Tony Genovese might know of the possible timetable for something like that. I think that's always a fluctuating.
So there won't be some.
So ultimately, there will be sidewalks. But in the meantime, I just wanted to put that out there that people will have to walk on the road. I've always felt safe walking on roads personally, but you never know what can happen. Did anyone have any thoughts about asking line striping to be put down the road or pedestrian signs put up along the street?
Yeah, but I
If
think
there's
we
something
could.
temporary, we could do to mark the areas.
Yeah, but I think we got to work on the first part. The other part is
I
the
think,
other
yeah,
part.
yeah.
Well, that's why I sort of started the conversation
You're
around
right.
big
We
chunks
could get
first.
into the crossing the highways and
Yeah, I think
First
we're
part
let's
we're getting ahead.
get the other part done, and then we'll work on this little part here.
Okay.
Because by the time that gets done, sidewalks may be in.
Well, and ideally, those sidewalks is what will allow the West River Greenway to come
To
up.
continue.
Right.
Right. Well, this will be part of that link
Right, and
also.
with the Pond Lily Dam coming down, the size of Knoll's Pond might shrink, and might.
It might, but I'm not sure about that.
Is that gonna drain that pond?
Because we have there's a spillway at the
Edge of
at the Knoll's Pond also, so that might govern that water more than
Okay.
the dam coming down. I'm not sure, but there's a possibility. The other possibility is that if Warren consents, so maybe we could do something with fencing, which would isolate his operation there.
Yeah, and I
If
think
there's a pot,
yeah,
I mean,
I think that
we
would
need
that'd
his
be a good
consent
part of
before
the
we do any
conversation
that.
with him. As,
Yeah. So we.
Or we could, if we can just get a small strip to go by or go above and open in back of his place. I've been down there, but I haven't been on the other side.
Yeah.
You got that big vacant building there.
So Tom, you've walked behind his property.
Yeah.
Seems
How
like
is
it's
it?
just
Yeah, a while ago.
a billy
It's been a
goat
while.
path.
Oh, you're talking about. I
We've
know
been
what you're
and we've been back there
Yeah.
for rescues too at the fire department. So I mean, there's
Yeah.
it's just that little piece once you get past this business.
Yeah. Okay.
Who owns that section behind his property? Is that state?
I'm not sure. I haven't
that
with
is-
the maps. It's
Or
hard
we
to
can
tell.
find
So
it.
I was just going to
So this
when we approach him, we'd find out.
and that's the city of New Haven right there.
You know what?
We don't take
Yeah.
down buildings or we don't dynamite.
No, so it is state
Well, I would
property because it's
dynamite.
part of the
You
West
get
Rock.
The state to do it.
Okay.
Part of West
Give us,
Rock.
West
But I'm
Rock.
sure he knows how far up he goes
Yeah.
too. So.
Yeah. All right.
But I
So-
think this goes along good because it ties in with the West River.
Right.
And the
It
West
ties in
River
with-
is a big project now, so this is an addition to that area.
It's going to be a link in the West River Greenway, so
Right.
that is, it's
In where we're worried about
Yeah.
areas where you said, danger, the Cheshire Canal walkway,
the farming.
Farmington
Yeah,
Canal.
Cheshire, yeah.
What they've done, they put natural barriers of wood, along, like you see, not the metal ones you see on the parkway, but they're wood, and they're there. And then especially when you're approaching an area where there's danger, they bring them in, so you've got to go, you bring yourself down.
To isolate
We can
it.
we can do stuff like that.
Yep. Fencing to keep pedestrians from getting themselves in trouble.
Right, exactly. I know if we got an easement on somebody's property, so we put one of those in, so you have to stay on this side, and I think to me it makes sense. But I don't know.
But that's on the road.
No, you can do it. You can do it anywhere,
Wherever it is a dangerous situation.
wherever it is a dangerous situation.
All right. So next steps, I'll contact the town, and then it sounds like myself and Frank and Tom will start making these connections.
For that.
The grant is due July 1st, so we'll have one other regular meeting before then. I may call a special meeting if there's any site work that we want to do, if we wanted to go and walk some of these properties with an invitation from the current owners to see it in person. And sometimes it helps to actually see
So I
it.
think the town has to make the contact first.
They will.
and then
Yeah.
then we would do that.
Right.
I wouldn't do it before then.
No, I will. I certainly would not. But I just want to make everybody
You know
aware
how
there might be an
properties
occasional
should be
special
permission.
meeting that comes up.
Yeah, but we don't need permission.
If I could
We don't
just say
need
that
permission.
Why?
So Frank, go ahead.
I just want to say, Sandy made a comment about the Farmington Canal. Well, when that was done, it was done in segments. There
In
was
segments,
there were
exactly.
sections that couldn't be done
couldn't walk
at a certain time, and they were done later. I think
This is a similar.
some of this is going to have to be done the same way. I mean, not all of it, but there's going to be part of it that we just aren't possibly going to get done in the first shot.
Yeah, because that did not go from, it goes from State Street or Grove Street. All the, I forget, does it go all the way through now or it stops? I
Yeah,
think
there's a
it's-
few breaks in it.
It's still, but they're
Very
working
few
on
breaks,
that to
though.
get that thing.
Yeah.
So let's get our section going and then we'll worry about these other little things and then put it together.
All right.
Right. That's my.
We're in
thought.
agreement with that.
That's my.
You may have to do a piece each year or
Next.
every year.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
it.
If we get
I mean, if we get the
continuous
grant
segment-
and we get the property and we didn't clear it, I mean, it may take 2 years to clear it or 18 months or.
Well, we do. I think if you get the grant, you have to complete it in a certain time frame.
It's not going to take 2 years to
But
clear it.
but we'll make sure. It
I
gets,
just use that as an example.
we'll make sure it gets done. All right. So we'll be
Yeah,
able to
we'll
move
go
forward
through-
with that.
go right through.
Next on the agenda is just the chairman's report. I don't have a lot to report on.
I got one issue.
You have an issue? Well, let me give my report.
And it's
first.
related to trails.
It's related to trails.
The trail there.
Is it-
what's
is it- is
the
it
name of
pertinent
that-
to-
You know
to,
that property that the town was talking about selling? How did you guys make out so far?
I believe that the town is still talking to the landowner, the neighboring landowner. I don't think there's been any progress.
There's no progress on that.
I'll consider that part of my chairman's report.
Okay.
The other items that I wanted to report on was the HIP tag grant. This is going back a couple of years. This is the Water Authority houses the 4 houses, the one on Johnson Road, 2 on Litchfield Turnpike, and 1 over on Sperry Road. They were nominated at the state register last summer. Then the state eliminated that position temporarily, so there was this vacancy. It got filled. The person started in February, and then they've been dealing with a backlog of all of these nominations. I did contact the state about it just back in April, and she said, "Thanks for calling. I'm going to move this up on the priority list." And that they should be considering it during their May session. So I'm hoping that after the end of May, I'll make contact with the state again to see what's happened. It seems to be a very long process going on.
And they'll probably say, "Did you call before?"
Yeah.
Let me ask you, all those properties they accepted?
We don't know yet.
We don't know. It's going to be May.
It's
This month.
right.
I mean, I personally don't think one property. I reviewed.
Well,
them all.
we'll see what they come up with. We'll see what they come up
Yeah.
with. So I'll follow
They'll
up with
probably
them.
falling apart.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
It's-
it doesn't look like it has any
Anything
historic
there.
value, to
Right.
be honest with you, but, you know.
So,
But you don't.
so the last bit on my report is that during the Board of Selectmen meeting, one of the town residents voiced some concern about the Fitzgerald property, and that there were some trees down on the trails that weren't being tended to. There was some brush that had been pushed aside.
Yes, I walked it. Yes.
So I was going to follow up with that resident and get a little more information about her concerns.
But it is the brush is on the side. Well, we got to get somebody just to get it out of there.
Yeah.
I walked it.
Does the brush impede the path?
No, that was pushed off to the side.
You know, brush
I mean-
piles can also be thought of as good for habitat.
Yeah,
So, depending on how close it is and whether it poses a danger,
it did
There
not.
are-
It
there-
did not impede the trail.
there are a number
It's the
of
one I'm thinking of.
there are a number of pros to brush piles.
Yeah, no, I'm not
And
saying.
I want to
that-
consider that as well, because depending how long they've been there,
Might be something.
there
like
may
that.
already be
They live in it.
nests in there and
Yeah,
or
they may be
otherwise
occupied.
inhabited.
Right,
So, just a
and,
thought.
and,
and
then
also
could be decaying and
also brought up in her concerns to the Board of Selectmen is having a maintenance and management plan. We always talked about this quite a bit, so I think we'll be diving into that topic shortly after knocking out
Well,
this grant
I
application.
agree with the woman on that, because it's parts of that trail, if you've walked it recently, are not in the greatest of shape.
All right, and that is the end of my report. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
I'll
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let's go home.
Okay.